What would you think if I suggested that when a departed loved one shows up in your dreams, it isn't merely your mind deceiving you? What if there's a deeper significance at play that could transform your perspective on life and death entirely? Edgar Cayce, referred to as America's sleeping prophet, recorded more than 14,000 psychic readings that uncover astonishing insights regarding these experiences that many people overlook. Have you ever awakened from a dream in which a person who has died communicated with you, cautioned you, or simply appeared with such striking clarity that it seemed more authentic than actual life? If you've experienced this, you should learn about what Cayce uncovered with his exceptional ability. Today, I will present 3 recorded instances from his readings that will change your perspective on these dreams entirely, outline the specific cautions Cayce provided about disregarding these encounters, and share astounding accounts of healing from individuals who learned to heed the messages. But first, consider this question. What if these are not merely dreams? Edgar Cayce, operating from his simple residence in Virginia Beach, entered trance states that linked him to what he referred to as the Akashic Records, the universal archive of all human experiences. After numerous readings, individuals approached him, seeking solace and insights regarding their lost family members. What Cayce disclosed during these sessions would upend the conventional scientific views on consciousness and mortality. In reading 136-18, a sorrowful mother inquired about her son, who had visited her multiple times in dreams following his death. Detractors nearby insisted that she was merely working through her grief. However, Cayce's reply transformed our comprehension of such experiences entirely. Cayce clarified that consciousness persists beyond the physical body. Rather, it moves into various dimensions of existence. Additionally, under specific circumstances, these souls can communicate with the living via dreams. However, what surprised even Cayce's stenographer was his assertion that these interactions frequently contain critical messages that the living are in dire need of. This completely alters our understanding of consciousness, doesn't it? In reading 136-18, the mother discovered that her son was attempting to alert her regarding a financial choice that could have severely affected their family. By heeding the advice obtained from her dream interaction, she managed to prevent the loss of their home. Yet, this was merely the start of what Cayce would unveil concerning these enigmatic dream visitations. In reading 254.68, Cayce disclosed information that will astonish you about the actual essence of these encounters. A businessman from Kentucky sought out Cayce after experiencing 3 consecutive dreams featuring his late father, who consistently directed him to a particular spot in their old farmhouse. While the family initially brushed it off as mere fantasy, Cayce's reading uncovered something remarkable. The father's spirit was genuinely trying to reach out, guiding his son to crucial family documents concealed in that precise area. Upon further investigation, the family unearthed a will that not only secured their inheritance, but also disclosed a family lineage that had been forgotten for ages. However, there's an even more astonishing aspect of these communications that I will share shortly. Cayce described how, after passing, souls frequently maintain ties to earthly matters for some time, particularly when they have unresolved issues or pressing messages meant for their loved ones. Within the Akashic Records, these souls can tap into insights regarding upcoming events that may impact their living relatives. Consider it akin to having a caring guardian who is plugged into a universal network of knowledge, making earnest attempts to reach you through the only channel at their disposal, your dreams. However, Cayce cautioned that most individuals often overlook an important fact. These forms of communication are fleeting and come with a limited time frame. In the reading of 3-4-122, Cayce conveyed to a widow that her late husband's capacity to communicate via dreams was most potent during the initial year following his death, but would slowly diminish as his spirit ascended to higher realms. She had been overlooking the dreams, attributing them to mere hallucinations due to her grief, which was unfortunate. As a result, she overlooked vital insights regarding their family business that might have averted its downfall. This is why Cayce highlighted the importance of acknowledging these dream encounters. However, how can one distinguish between true spiritual messages and regular dreams? This insight became a pivotal revelation for thousands of Cayce's clients. Authentic messages from those who have passed away possess distinct traits that Cayce recorded throughout numerous readings. The spirit of the deceased often manifests with remarkable clarity and vitality, frequently appearing younger or in better health than at the time of their death. They convey specific details that the dreamer could not possibly have known. Most notably, these dreams are imbued with emotional significance and urgency that persists even after waking up. In reading 2067-1, a woman recounted a dream in which her departed mother appeared, urgently instructing her to look in on her elderly neighbor. The woman nearly overlooked it, yet the vividness of the dream urged her to take action. Upon visiting her neighbor, she discovered that the elderly lady had fallen and had been unable to seek assistance for 2 days. Thanks to her timely intervention, the neighbor's life was saved. However, there's an even more remarkable aspect of these dream communications that ties into Cayce's insights on reincarnation and soul groups. Cayce indicated that our dreams do not merely feature any deceased individuals at random. The spirits that manifest to us generally belong to our soul group, people with whom we have experienced numerous lifetimes, linked by ties that go beyond mere physical existence. These relationships form what Cayce referred to as vibrational channels, enabling communication to flow across dimensional divides. Imagine them as spiritual relatives who continue to care about your welfare, even after moving on to elevated realms of being. No longer restricted by the confines of the physical realm, they can sense dangers, possibilities, and guidance that may be beyond the reach of your conscious awareness. This awareness changes our perspective on both grief and death. Wouldn't you agree? In the 575-6-4 reading, Cayce explained to a mourning father that death should not be perceived as a conclusion, but rather as a transition, akin to moving from one room to another in a boundless home. Those who have passed continue to be aware, keep their love for their family, and frequently act as spiritual guides during significant times in our lives. However, there's a caution that Cayce reiterated in each reading. We must remain spiritually open to be able to receive these messages. Contemporary American existence, filled with constant distractions and a focus on material wealth, frequently hinders our innate psychic skills. Cayce suggested various methods to enhance our openness to spiritual messages, such as engaging in meditation, prayer, and adopting what he described as a spiritual mindset in our everyday lives. However, what truly astonished me about Cayce's recorded instances of dream messages from those who have passed was a particular case. In reading 1472-2, a young woman shared that her late grandmother appeared in her dreams, providing her with specific herbal remedies for an enigmatic illness that medical professionals were unable to identify. Following the guidance from her dreams, she concocted teas and treatments precisely as depicted in her visions. In just a few weeks, her ailment entirely vanished, and medical examinations verified her full recovery, leaving her doctors perplexed. This situation demonstrated that souls who have passed on maintain their knowledge and can tap into healing insights from the Akashic records to assist their living family members. The wisdom of your late grandmother, who understood traditional remedies, your grandfather, who was skilled in mechanics, and your mother, who possessed an intuitive understanding of relationships, does not fade away with death. Instead, it becomes accessible to support you in navigating life's difficulties. This insight will transform your perspective on every dream interaction with departed relatives moving forward. Cayce found that such communications frequently become more pronounced during times of crisis or significant life changes. The spirits are aware when their loved ones are confronted with important choices, health issues, or spiritual dilemmas. They communicate through dreams as they comprehend outcomes that the living may overlook. In discussing 37441, Cayce noted that time functions differently in spiritual realms. The departed are able to sense potential futures stemming from present decisions and fervently attempt to steer their loved ones towards more favorable paths. It's akin to having a caring family member who can anticipate challenges, alerting you to potential hurdles or guiding you towards new possibilities. However, there's an even deeper aspect to these dream encounters that relates to the increasing spiritual awakening in America. Cayce foresaw that as humanity undergoes spiritual growth, our inherent psychic skills would become more pronounced, leading to clearer and more frequent communications with those who have passed. He viewed this as a facet of the spiritual revival that would surface in the late 20th century and extend into the 21st century, which is precisely what we are experiencing in America today. The rising fascination with meditation, energy healing, studies on consciousness, and metaphysical teachings symbolizes humanity's re-embrace of its innate spiritual capabilities. In this framework, communications through dreams from departed loved ones should not be viewed as supernatural occurrences. Instead, they represent a natural manifestation of our evolving consciousness. Thus, Cayce highlighted the importance of embracing these experiences as offerings from the spiritual world, rather than fearing them. In the case of reading 2827, an individual described unsettling dreams in which his late brother appeared anxious and troubled. Cayce explained that the brother was attempting to alert him to family members who were engaging in risky behaviors. After the family tackled these concerns with prayer and intervention, the brother's dream visits morphed into serene and affectionate experiences, ultimately diminishing as his soul ascended to higher planes. Cayce shared insights on how to engage with these dream encounters that can enrich your spiritual journey. To start, keep a journal dedicated to capturing dreams of departed loved ones. Write down every detail right after waking up, since these memories can slip away rapidly in our everyday, material-minded awareness. Pay attention to recurring themes, consistent messages, or particular advice that appears over time. Secondly, engage with these dreams from a place of reverence and appreciation rather than doubt or apprehension. Cayce noted that fear establishes spiritual obstacles that hinder clear communication, whereas love and receptiveness foster clearer pathways for receiving insights. Thirdly, take action on any explicit advice gained from these dreams, particularly related to health, relationships, or significant choices. Cayce recorded many instances where disregarding dream guidance resulted in lost opportunities or preventable challenges. However, the most impactful element of Cayce's lessons on dream interactions with those who have passed is yet to come. These experiences fulfill two key functions. They not only offer insights and alerts for the living, but also brings solace and healing for both the lost spirit and their surviving family members. Such communication aids the departed in resolving unresolved emotional matters, conveying affection that remained unspoken before their passing, and slowly freeing themselves from earthly bonds as they advance spiritually. For those still alive, these visions serve as a testament to the enduring nature of love, demonstrating that consciousness persists beyond the physical realm, ensuring we are never completely isolated in confronting life's obstacles. This insight can change sorrow into a sense of spiritual connection and transform the fear of death into an eager expectation of ongoing existence in higher realms. In readings 1152-3, Cayce informed a mourning widow that her late husband's frequent appearances in her dreams were his method of helping her grasp that their bond of love was everlasting, and he would be there for her when she eventually transitioned to the spiritual world. As she embraced this understanding and let go of her grief, his dream visits became rarer but more serene, eventually evolving into subtle signs and synchronistic events that reminded her of his enduring presence and love. This illustrates the fundamental truth about why we must never overlook the appearances of deceased loved ones in our dreams. These experiences serve as the universe's way of showing that consciousness is eternal. Love surpasses physical death, and we are all linked through invisible spiritual connections that cannot be severed by death. The insights into the extraordinary spiritual realm that lies ahead for each of us come through the heartfelt care of those who have already passed on. The documented readings of Edgar Cayce present solid proof that these dream messages are genuine, significant, and often vital for our spiritual development and practical advice. As society gradually acknowledges that consciousness is a primary element, rather than a mere byproduct of physical existence, these teachings provide encouragement, solace, and practical insights for managing earthly difficulties and spiritual growth. When a departed loved one visits you in your dreams, keep in mind Cayce's caution. These invaluable communications should never be overlooked. Rather, welcome their presence with thankfulness, meticulously record your experiences, and stay receptive to the wisdom they provide. You are experiencing a blessing through direct messages from the spiritual dimension, conveyed by the boundless love of souls who continue to care for your welfare, even beyond their physical departure. Your loved ones who have passed away are not lost to you. They have merely moved on to a more advanced level in the endless journey of consciousness, and they continue to watch over you with affection. Death cannot lessen this bond. Have faith in these visions, respect these messages, and let them lead you on the path to the spiritual enlightenment that Cayce believed was the ultimate fate of humanity. The key takeaway from the sleeping prophet was that death doesn't signify an end. Rather, it serves as a gateway to a broader awareness and everlasting life. When cherished ones who have passed show up in your dreams, they are granting you a view through that gateway, imparting the deepest truth of all. Love never ceases to exist. Consciousness cannot be destroyed, and our connections reach beyond the limits of physical existence. Always pay attention to these important communications. Your growth on a spiritual level and your guidance in this life could hinge on the messages that your deceased loved ones are urgently attempting to convey to you through the enigmatic world of dreams.